In today's video, we're going to be talking about the top 3 causes for numbness in your fingers. So any of you getting numbness in your fingers? The first thing to remember about numbness is one of 4 primary signs that you have some sort of nerve irritation in your body. Okay, we got pain, numbness, tingling, and weakness. So when you have pain, numbness, tingling, and weakness, it could be a combination of those things, but specifically numbness in the fingers, right? Your brain sits up here in the top, and messages have to travel down the spinal cord and then down the arms to the fingers. Now it is possible in certain conditions where the problem can actually be more isolated to the hand, but I would say more often than not, you're getting compression higher up in the chain, meaning it's maybe happening either at the elbow, happening at the shoulder, happening all the way at the neck. And so we want to look at the most obvious reasons why you're having numbness. We can certainly move from the kind of least complicated to the most complicated rather than going to the most severe problem possible. But a lot of times the evaluation is very, very similar. And so the first thing is we're talking about the weight of the head. The head weighs approximately 10 to 15 pounds, and you got a brain inside, you got all those brains. So I'm sure you're really smart, but we want to make sure that that bowling ball, that head, is sitting up over top of our shoulders. Within the human body, there's a process of degeneration that happens to the spine. So one of the areas that's more prone to injury than others is the base of the neck, which is right in here, right at the top of the shoulders, right where your head and your neck meets the top of your shoulders. And so if there's deterioration in the spine, it's also going to make a case for the potential that you have this numbness in your hands as a result of pressure that's actually being put on the spine or the nerves that are exiting the spine up in this area of the body. But there's a cumulative injury that can happen over the course of time due to bad posture, due to trauma, due to using your body in an imbalanced way. If you're leaning over your computer or you're looking down at your phone a lot, all of these postural issues that we've spoken about begin to put more pressure on the base of the neck here. And so when we're looking at getting rid of tingling in the fingers, we have to take this component into account. Now there are many, many other different types of conditions that can cause numbness in your fingers, but I don't know if I would say they're unusual. I would say they're not the first thing that I would look at. And so most likely if you're having numbness in your fingers and it's persisting, the likelihood is that you're going to need to get an MRI on your neck. Okay? An MRI is going to be a more advanced type of diagnostic testing so that you can actually visualize what's going on in the discs in your neck. And so we're able in an MRI to be able to see the thickness of the disc, to see whether there's irregularities around the spine here, and that will give us some clues as to what's going on as far as your numbness goes. Now, there are lots of different other conditions that can cause numbness in your fingers. And so I pulled this list here from the Mayo Clinic, and I'm not going to read the whole list, but just so you get an idea of what types of things can actually cause these problems. So we've talked in different videos about carpal tunnel syndrome, right? So sometimes, as we're saying, sometimes there's pressure on the nerves all the way down at the wrist. And if you have carpal tunnel syndrome, that can also cause numbness in your fingers. Certainly, more severe problems like multiple sclerosis or HIV, these types of things cause a more biochemical change in the body that can begin to, and including diabetes as well, can cause a more biochemical change in the body that causes this numbness in the hands, which may or may not be related to the degeneration or the positioning of your head. But again, like I said, we want to go for the lowest hanging fruit so that we really understand and we start at the beginning, meaning don't go to the most severe problem, okay? Sometimes people are looking on WebMD or different things like that, and they're going, oh my God, I've got a tumor in my head or somewhere else in my body. It's not that. Sometimes we just need to take it more strategic approach to looking at this numbness so we can figure out what's going on there. The next video is going to be on spine anatomy, right? The anatomy, we're going to take you back to school here, and we're going to talk about the anatomy of the spine so that you can understand your body and begin to not be afraid of the things that are happening, but really understand them so that you can be as healthy as possible.